Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. Now, the content that I'm going to show you today was released last night. It turns out that the lawmakers in Colorado, which the left has fully taken over in their anti-gun quest, they are now on a mission to all of a sudden bring those manufacturers to bear, even though it completely violates federal law. But no matter. That's what we're going to talk about. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. And if you are new or returning viewer, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and turning the notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get into the fold, be counted amongst friends and family, so we can pass the blessing of the Second Amendment along to the next generation. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, but seriously, guys, some things are so transparently virtue signals that they just come off as dumb. I'm just saying. What we're about to talk about is the legislature in Colorado. Well, a couple of years ago, they went ahead and repealed that state preemption law. That whole thing that counties could now make gun laws that were greater than the state. Well, they got rid of that whole bad boy. And since then, they've pretty much been on a quest to get rid of anything Second Amendment related to prove their bona fides in the new left-wing states. However, what they're doing here is just plain dumb. Like I said, everything is linked in the description box. Let's jump into this. This is silly. States look to remove legal protections for gun industry. Now, keep in mind, this this article came out last night. Denver, AP. Mass shootings in America invariably raise questions of fault. The police's delayed response outside an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. A district attorney's failure to prosecute the alleged Club Q shooter a year before 5 were killed in an LGBTQ nightclub. That finger of blame, however, rarely lands on the manufacturer of the guns used in the massacres. That's because it's dumb. You aren't going to charge a car manufacturer for, I don't know, a drunk driver. You're not going to charge any other thing that someone uses a object in the purpose that it is not described for or prescribed for. However, gun manufacturers, they're different because it's all their fault. We've got to go after them in marketing. You know how this works. Again, the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, which is a federal law, supersedes anything that they would do here. Yet, they got to do it anyway because Remington got $73 million taken out of them. Anyway, let's keep going. A draft version of Colorado's bill, expected to be introduced Thursday, not only repeals the state's 2000 law, which broadly keeps firearm companies from being held liable for violence perpetrated with their products because it's not their fault, but also outlines a code of conduct that, in part, targets how companies design and market firearms. Weird how that seems to be a consistent theme ever since the Remington case got settled by insurance companies, by the way. Ever since that occurred, it's amazing that marketing and design features seem to be appearing across the board in all of these legislative pushes shortly after that. It's almost like they're a hive mind of gun control. Again, completely ignoring the fact that the PLCAA is a federal law. Anyway, let's keep going, because there's more silly. While the firearm industry is still largely shielded from liability under federal law, the bill in Colorado would make it easier for victims of gun violence to file civil suits, such as the one lodged against Remington in 2015. See? The company that made the rifle used in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. Well, of course, we know all about that. And that wasn't because they were found guilty and had to actually issue a judgment. It's because the insurance companies settled. It's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, all that money comes out of the gun industry. All that money comes out of the gun industry. If the point is to starve you from the inside out, that's kind of what they're doing. But again, that emphasis on marketing is interesting. States that already have the law in place, however, are now facing legal challenges or threats of lawsuits from national gun rights groups, in part because the federal law passed by Congress in 2005 already gives the gun industry broad legal immunity. So you have a federal law. The states that went ahead and did this, you know, the usual suspects, California, New York, New Jersey, yeah, they're under actual lawsuits and litigation because they're violating a federal law. But you know what? We got to do it anyway because we need those bona fides. We need to do that virtue signal because guns are seriously the problem. Couldn't be anything else in the equation. No, it's the inanimate object. You can obviously pick up my frustration. This is just for virtue signaling. And they'll probably get it through the House. And honestly, I bet you they'll sign into the law. Bring on the lawsuits. That seems to be a theme. But got one more thing for you. This is the actual spokesperson for NSSF, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, Mark Oliva. This is a really good analogy he throws out here. Mark Oliva, Managing Director for Public Affairs at the National Shooting Sports Foundation, which has filed the lawsuits against other states' laws, said Colorado would be ripe for a legal challenge if the bill passes. They know that. They don't care. It's not their money. Oliva argues that if Coors Brewing Company shouldn't be held responsible for its customers drinking and driving, then why should gun businesses be held responsible for what their customers do? That's an excellent question. Specifically, since the Second Amendment is a protected right in the United States, it's part of the Bill of Rights, and you have a federal law passed in Congress in 2005 called the PLCAA, what are you doing passing state-level laws that are again under litigation because you're violating federal law because you just want to do it and starve out the gun manufacturers, even though you're not going to? Classify this one under silly. Letting you know what's going on, letting you know how we're going to counter it, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.